Did you know you can have automations inside Notion without using complex tools like Make or Zapier? Let's say that every time you create a new project for your business, you want some specific tasks to be automatically created as well. Well, let me show you how can you manage this inside Notion by just following 2 steps. But first, hi, my name is Anna Kushar. I'm a Notion consultant for business owners, and in this channel, we're gonna discuss everything about how to optimize your team and business. Let's get into it. So, let's say that you're currently managing your tasks and projects inside Notion, and in order to do that, you have 2 different databases. First, on one hand, you have one full database to manage all of your projects, and then you have another one for your tasks. Let's see them in more detail. So let's say that inside the projects, of course, you have this is like the database, and then you have one row for each one of the projects. And then we have different properties. On one hand, we have the status of the project, the name of the project, what's the major due date, what's the progress of the project, and we will see that in more detail in a second. What are the tasks of this project, or maybe to which department of our whole business does this project belongs to? Who's in charge of this project, as in who's the official project manager? What's the specific Google Drive link for this project in order to maybe store all the documents inside Google Drive, and then a secret button to activate some automations that I will show you later on. So let's say that this is the project's database. And then on another hand, we also have the tasks database. And here we also have some related properties. We have status of the task, the name, who is it assigned to, another due date, the priority, and maybe also optional to which department does it belong. And we already see that these tasks are related to the projects. As we can see here, they are grouped by the specific project. And if, for example, we open one of the tasks, you will see that we already have this relation property that relates every specific task with one specific project. However, this is how you bring this project management into the next level. So let's say that inside of our projects, just by having all the information separated, it works, but it's not super efficient because we can see all of the tasks on one side and all of the projects on the other. But as these lists are gonna grow and grow and grow over time, that's not the most efficient way to work with that. Let's see how can we manage it. The first thing is to make sure that inside each one of the projects, we can manage all of the tasks and other details that are related to them. So let's say that if I open one of them, then on the inside, I can already manage maybe the project description of just to get some context on them. I can even manage the specific meeting notes, and mostly I can manage all of the specific tasks that are related to this project in many different views. So one common option is to have this as a Gantt diagram. So you can set on a timeline specific, see the due dates for the tasks. And another one is more like the Trello board, so you can manage the status of the tasks that are related to this project. And what that's gonna do is that as soon as, let's see it more clearly. So you can see the progress for this first project. Right now it's at 0% because we haven't started any task. As soon as we belong to move these tasks into further status, so let's say that we begin to finish some of these tasks, you will see how the status, the progress bar suddenly changes. So, actually, we can also do it down there. So as soon as we move them to complete it, now the progress bar will keep moving until it's completely finished. So this is just to show you that we can manage our tasks and projects more efficiently, and it's about having all the information stored inside the same project. However, now we can bring this to the next level, which is, all right, so I can see that I can gather all the information inside the project, but do I have to do that manually? Every time I create a new project, how does this look like? So now let's see that into more detail. If you want this whole structure to be there already every time we create a new project, we will need 2 individual things. First, we're gonna need an internal template in order to have this predefined structure inside the project with an area to store the details, an area to store the meeting notes, and then 2 areas or just different sections in order to manage the tasks that are already related to this project. But then we need another part, which is the automation that's going to create all of the predefined tasks that we want to see in there as soon as we create a new project. Let's say this one as an example. So let's say that imagine you're a service provider, and every time you create a new project or you start working with a new client, you more or less follow always the same tasks. And then say that these tasks are always these 4. First, you need to have the kickoff call. to get started with this client. Then you need to prepare the strategy. Maybe you're like a CEO, analyst, or a content manager, so you prepare a specific strategy for your clients. Then you choose deliver the strategy once it's completed, and then you do the final closing call. Let's say it's always the same 4 steps. It could be amazing to just click one button, create one new project, and then have all these 4 tasks already prepared in there for you. Now, this is something you can have inside Notion, and the most amazing part is that you don't need to use Zapier or Make or any complex external tool. You can prepare this with a simple automation inside Notion. So let's see how to set them up. Now, in order to create the automations inside Notion, we need to pay attention and think, where do we need to place them? In this case, for example, the automation we want to create is that every time that we create a new project, a specific number of tasks are automatically created and automatically related to that specific project. So in order to set that trigger, we will need to go inside the origin of the database, which is the projects database. And once we're on this database, we just need to go to this lightning icon, and here's where we will manage and set up all the automations. So once we click inside this button, you will see an area to manage all of the automations. And let's see one that's already created just to show you an example. So if we open this one, we will see that every automation has 2 different steps. The first step is what's the trigger that's gonna create or literally trigger the automation. And then the second one is what's going to happen once that trigger has been triggered. Say it in other words, when this happens, then do that. Now let's create this automation for the specific use case we're talking about. So every time a new project is created, 4 specific tasks are already created and related to that project. How do we do that? The first step is to select what's the trigger that we're gonna work with. So in this case, it's as simple as we just want that a new page is added. Just to see the different options, if we click in here, you will see that you can have many different triggers, as in a new page is created, or a specific property is changed, or a specific property is set to a specific value. But for this example, it's as simple as a new page is added, so a new project is created, and then let's see what happens when that trigger is set. So in here now it's time to create the specific tasks that we were talking about. Let's say that every time a new project is created, we want to create these 4 tasks. For this example, I already pre-created some tasks just to show you as an example, but let's edit them together so you can see how do they work on the backend. The first part is to edit the name of those tasks. So for example, for the first one, we're going to say kick off call. The second, it's going to be to prepare the strategy. Then we need to deliver the strategy. And the last one's going to be the close call. Now, besides setting the specific name for each one of the tasks, we can also predefine some specific properties for each one of them. For example, we can set up who do we want to be the owner of those tasks. We can already set the status, and we can even set the department or the tags that we want those tasks to have. In this case, we're going to delete it because this is not relevant for this example. But then the last but most important property we need to set in here is to later on relate automatically this specific task to the project that triggered this automation. And that's where we're going to select inside the project related property. We're going to select the trigger page that set up this automation. So now we just need to do the same activities in the other tasks. Okay, so now we have all the tasks ready to be created automatically every time we create a new project. But what if we add one final step in here? What if every time that a new project is created, we already send a notification to maybe our boss? So he's going to know every time we create a new project, and we have more visibility across our team. Now, in order to do so, we just need to go until the very end, and we can also create another set and kind of automation, which is every time that a new project is created, first of all, please create these 4 individual tasks and relate them to the origin of the project. But then also, please notify this specific person inside the team space or workspace and send them this specific message. So in here we can please send this notification to, in this case, to myself. And please add this specific message as, hey, a new project has been created, please go check it out. And now we set it as done. And let's put it to test. Now let's check the final result. So every time that I create a new project, let's see what's going to happen. If you go on the inside of the project, we will see that first of all, the structure is already there. So we have this template to see what's the description for the project, what are the meeting notes, and a couple of spaces to manage our internal tasks, but we see that all of the tasks are already there. And in this specific case, they're already assigned to me. So everything is ready for me to start working on this project. I didn't have to do anything else besides just clicking new page, and then the project is created, the tasks are assigned, the tasks are related to this project, and they are assigned to me automatically. And as you can see, I already received a few notifications, so let's check them together. First of all, we see that I already received 4 notifications for the 4 tasks that just got created, as I set myself as the owner. So in this case, it's like I'm working on something and I just received the notification of, hey, you have a new task to work on. But then I also received an extra notification which says, hey, a new project has been created, please go check it out. So in this case, if I was the boss or like the manager in my team, I will get a notification every time a project is created. So I'm always aware of what's going on inside my team. So as a summary, we can use automations inside Notion directly. So whenever we create a new project or a new client, a specific amount of tasks are automatically created and assigned to a specific team member of ours. So we don't need to do this manually every single time that we create a new project. And this is just a tiny and simple example on how to use automations inside Notion. Because, of course, whenever we're working with workflows that are longer and have many stages, we can set as many automations as we want to. So every time that we change the stage of a project, we can notify a specific person of our team. We can even send a specific email to a specific client, or we can just get notifications inside the workspace so everyone is aware of what do they need to do every single time. And we can even go as far as using buttons inside our system to trigger these automations to be like, set this project as in review status. And then that's going to change the status, that's going to notify your boss, and maybe that's going to create a few new tasks. So this is just the final message that Notion automations are super useful. And there are so many ways that you can optimize your systems so your team can work more efficiently. You can have everything under control while keeping all the operations for your business on the same side. Now, if you have any specific questions about it, please leave them in the comments or just send me a direct message. I'm going to leave all my socials down below, and you can even book a free discovery call with me if you want me to take a closer look at your specific case. I will leave all the links in the description box. And if you want to keep learning how to use Notion for your business in order to work more efficiently with your team, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.